I'm here at South Texas College early for an event on artificial intelligence. Just wanted to hop on to share some thoughts with everyone. Artificial intelligence, from an educator's perspective, has been a very interesting topic that's engaged my curiosity for the past couple years. Today's forum is going to educate me on issues regarding artificial intelligence in the workforce and how we can better prepare our students for the future. Now, this is a topic that I think more of us need to be talking about, no matter what our profession is. But from a professor's perspective, just wanted to give some thought. What I see in the classroom right now is a huge reliance on artificial intelligence. Whether we're talking about ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, students know how to use this technology. They have it on their phones. It's not esoteric anymore. Students know exactly where to go in order to get the answers and the production that they need in order to turn in assignments. Now, this is what I mean by production. We ask our students to write a 5-page essay. What we're essentially asking them is produce this product, the 5-page essay. I will give you a grade, and then we will move forward, rinse and repeat. That is why we have a lot of cheating. That's why we have a lot of unethical behavior. We're asking our students to produce something and grading them particularly on the product. What I've been seeing as an educator is a need to look at artificial intelligence as a tool of process. What that means is totally redefining what teaching looks like and what learning looks like, whether we're talking about elementary school students or college level students that I work with in English courses. For example, when I assign a 5-page essay, it's very easy for me as an educator to lose sight of the ultimate goal. The goal is not to produce a 5-page essay. Maybe if the student wants to be a scholar or researcher in the future, they got to learn how to do that. But ultimately, vast majority of these students are not going to become that. They would rather learn how to become better writers. They want to learn how to be critical thinkers. They want to improve their sentence structures. So that is what I mean by process. Artificial intelligence can be a wonderful tool, if we use it properly as educators, to educate students on how to gain specific skills, specific pieces of knowledge that will enable them to nonetheless become better thinkers in the 21st century. Maybe, just maybe, we can no longer rely on these traditional assignments that focus so much on production, but we need to shift toward process. And this applies to any subject: math, science, social studies. Pedagogy needs to radically change. That way we can focus on the skills and the knowledge our students need, not just to pass the STAR test, not just to get the degree and leave and get their job, but to truly thrive in the 21st century. This forum I'm about to attend is going to talk about the workforce demands, how we need to train our workers to protect themselves against automation, to make sure artificial intelligence can be used intelligently and productively and efficiently in the workforce. And I think it starts in the classroom. I ran for the Texas Board of Education in 2022, and I can tell you, the Texas Board of Education and the Texas Education Agency at large is not ready for what's coming in artificial intelligence. Ezra Klein, a couple months ago, hosted an expert on artificial intelligence, and they claim that by the end of the Trump administration, there's going to be a revolution in AI. AI, as we know it today, is already so advanced, it's going to become even more advanced by the end of 2028. It's going to radically transform our society, and we're going to feel it very, very hard in the classroom. I think as educators, we have a responsibility to reimagine what education is. That means changing our lesson plans to focus on process, not just production. And I hope our elected officials, especially those that have to do with education, can pay close attention to this, can listen and learn, attend events like this, and be able to implement policies and procedures that empower people of all levels, not just the educators on the front lines, but our school board leaders, our superintendents, our college administrators, with the knowledge needed in order to reclaim artificial intelligence for our benefit. Now, this is all from the educator's perspective. There's a lot more to be said about AI. For example, AI, whenever you put in an inquiry on ChatGPT, takes an immense amount of energy. It's bad for the environment, and we need our elected officials and the private sector to come together to mitigate that impact. We need to also talk about ethics when it comes to copyright, when it comes to using AI effectively and making sure we're not over relying on it in our day-to-day lives, whether it's for education or for work or for leisure. These are things that we need to address wholesale. From the educator's perspective, I think what we can do today is to start to look at our lesson plans, start to break down what are the processes, what are the specific skills and pieces of knowledge I want my student to learn, and start changing our lessons to better adapt, not just to artificial intelligence. And I'm not encouraging educators to use AI if they don't plan on using it or don't want to use it, but I think we can all become better pedagogues when we improve our lesson plans around skills, around knowledge, and not necessarily the product, which in my case has traditionally been essays.